What is up, everybody? It's another edition of the Countdown City Geekcast. My name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me, I just saw your name. To my left here is Super Dave, and and we also got, last but not least, Colin Weaver. What's going on, Colin?
Hey everyone. So
Oh
excited.
man, this is it's going to be a great episode. We are celebrating that we are finally in the era of the DCU.
Yes.
And in case you were living under a rock, we're going to be talking about the all new teaser trailer for James Gunn's Superman, featuring David Cornsweet and a stacked cast. And there was so much information given in the trailer. So, first, we're going to react to it, then, we're going to talk about it, and then we'll probably break it down because there's a lot of Easter eggs in this deal, and we'll see which ones you guys
So many.
pointed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a ton of them. So first off, let's go ahead and let's watch this trailer. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
I just love how David's the center of attention. There you go.
Boom.
We're trying to hype everyone up for this movie. But yeah.
Interesting.
So
They
good.
didn't even. I don't think they put the title anywhere in here. Not a big deal. Not a
Yeah,
big deal.
because we all know it's Superman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so let's hide this for a second, and then we actually have another member of the team that's joining us. One and only Retro Ray. What's going on, sir?
What's going on, guys?
All right, so we just watched the trailer again, and here we're here to talk about it. We've already talked about it a little bit, but Dave, your initial reaction, your thoughts to it, like what is your feelings about watching that trailer now?
I thought it was great. I thought it was a great first impression, which is really key, especially for something like the DCU that is kind of coming off of a regime that really wasn't as well accepted as we'd like. I know Ted and I and Colin really liked it, but the general populace out there didn't take to it like I think we all thought they should have. But there were a lot of criticisms that were placed upon it, and I think James Gunn actually addressed a lot of those criticisms in this trailer. And just the fact that, I mean, James Gunn, he created the live-action Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, and I think that very first film was one of the greatest introductions to a comic book director of all time. I think that's one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. He made it work. He's just one of those directors that, to me, is just one of the supreme directors out there, one of the best living directors out there, one of the best minds, one of the best writers, all in one. And I want to say that I thought way back then, I was like, man, maybe if this guy knocks it out of the park with the rest of these Guardians movies, he should probably think about moving up and taking over something like a DC. That would be great. And he's done it. He's the creative head now of DC Studios. It's been rebranded as DC Studios along with Peter Safran, who is like writing the checks and doing all the books, keeping the books and doing the executive side of the house of DC. So James Gunn can concentrate on the creative. And I've been a Superman fan ever since birth. So my Superman is Christopher Reeves. And going through time, of course, we've had Dean Cain. We've had I didn't watch a lot of Smallville, but I did love Brendan Routh, his portrayal, and then of course that wasn't taken to as much as I'd like, but he was a terrific Superman. We got to see him in person at Fantastic Fest, and he just looks like Superman. It's wild. And then of course we led up to Tyler Hoechlin, and then of course before that was Henry Cavill, and Henry Cavill I think we all loved his portrayal of Superman. He
Don't forget about Brendan
now
Routh.
David Cornsweet. He is now the new Superman. He's a younger guy. He's 6'4", and from all accounts, he oozes the Superman aura. So I'm just really excited. I think James Gunn is one of the only people in the world that could actually do this justice. And this teaser trailer, I think, kind of proves it as our first impression of the new DCU Superman.
Justice, no pun intended. You know, I think Corn Sweat. I'm gonna wait to see like him in the Superman action scenes and all that stuff. It feels like his Clark Kent, and this is only a teaser, so I'm not like
Yeah.
putting money on anything right now. It feels like his Clark Kent is a little bit more well thought out and stuff. I haven't seen anything yet about his Superman persona that like really gets me excited or whatever. Again, not a lot of shots. Half of them he's lying on the ground, beaten and bruised. So I'm gonna give him his fair shot, and we'll see what happens. Duke's in the chat saying, "Hello, what's going on, Duke? Let us know what you thought about the trailer. Everybody, whoever's watching right now, we want to get your thoughts as well on the trailer. And I know everybody wants to talk about Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. Yes, there's been like 1,000 comments about how ridiculous he looks. We will get to that, I promise.
Yeah.
But Colin, how about you, sir? I know you're a major Superman fan.
I
This
am.
really hyped, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Superman has been a very big part of my life just because of heroes like, Captain America and Spider-Man, from Marvel. I related to so much. I'm a big Captain America fan, but with Superman, I just related to in a way where he when he was growing up with his superpowers and stuff, like he kind of felt isolated. He kind of felt excluded from the world, and I kind of grew up with that kind of feeling because I shocking, but I was a huge nerd like growing up, and that kind of made me feel isolated because I kind of got judged for it and all that stuff. So I related to Superman in a big way, and it just kind of stuck with me. And then you had Superman Returns and Man of Steel, and Henry Cavill just did a fantastic job. But this one got me excited because of James Gunn really advertised that he wanted this movie and all of the rest of the new DC stuff to feel like it's coming straight from the comics, like straight off the pages. And from this trailer alone, like that's what it felt like. And with Man of Steel and the Zack Snyder stuff, there was a lot of realism to it, which is, totally fine because sometimes when you're watching this stuff, like you want it to be realistic, so then you can relate it to it more. But with this, it's good that I think it's going to find that happy medium in between where you can do both. And the actor that they chose, he just screams Clark Kent. He screams Superman. And also, fun facts, he is a big Star Wars fan as well.
He's a massive Star Wars fan. Yeah.
Yes. So that's awesome. That is so cool. So I am really excited to see his full performance. But from this trailer alone, I just love how there's so many Superman callbacks. I love how Crypto the Super Dog is back, which that is also a big thing because they've gone back and forth with Crypto for so long. So, but I love that we're going back to the basics in this. And I love how they're treating this as a big deal, because it is a big deal. Because if this film doesn't do well, then the rest of the stuff they had going forward probably won't be as smoothly as they want it. So this, I like, to me, this film has to do well. And I got a feeling it's going to, the way that you can tell that everyone in the project cares. Like James Gunn really cares. And all the actors that are in this, you can tell from their interviews and stuff, they really care about their performances. So I'm really, really excited to see where this goes. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just excited.
Don't apologize. Okay. Go for it.
They also used a reminiscence of the John Williams theme, which I'm a big John Williams fan as well. So
Are you Colin? We had no idea.
So I just love that they did that too. And it's yes, they're doing their own thing, but they're paying homage to not just the character, but the whole Superman franchise. And I love that. I love that they're doing that with this.
Duke's in the chat saying, what time is it? And it's morphin time because Ray's wearing his Power Rangers hat. That's what it is.
I don't have a Superman head yet. I want that one from San Diego that they had.
Dude,
That was
yeah,
that
no,
was
that one's
man.
sick. It's awesome. And Colin was talking about James Gunn earlier, and the two things that you touched on. Number one, there was a report saying there is I mean, kind of no brainer, but there's the entire DCU's riding on the success of this movie,
Yeah.
to the point that some of the major media trades were claiming, should things not turn out how they expect and it actually bombs, that could actually derail the entire DCU,
Yeah.
which sounds far fetched, but I mean, not DC. Warner Brothers has made knee jerk reactions in the past. It's sort of their MO. So it's highly plausible that that could be a thing. The other thing that you mentioned was James Gunn cares a lot. Not only that, but I've actually been reading that he's under serious stress
Yeah.
about like how well this does. And for the reasons we just mentioned, the entire DCU is riding on the success of this film. So
I think
should
his hair has changed, like specifically because of it. Because if you look
No,
to his,
it changed for the third Guardians movie, so
Yeah.
I don't think we can properly claim that. But.
well, yeah, I know. I was just joking, but like there is a lot of pressure, like of doing this sort of thing. So I can totally understand where he's coming from, because it's when he was over at Marvel, his main thing was the Guardians. But now it's like, he's in charge of a whole franchise, like a whole franchise. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. So yeah, no, it's I can definitely understand of where he's coming from. So I'm excited to see of where this goes. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I don't think we have anything to be worried about because getting James Gunn is like getting like a key free agent, like a big time free agent in sports. They brought over a huge free agent. We all know he's talented. He can come in and just like take him to the championship already. That's what it feels like to me. That's what that is.
I think this is a solid step in the right direction. Like he's kind of been curating the information that gets out. He's been curating, the stills and the set photos, and they're sort of building the hype towards something. And so releasing it today, I mean, pull it up online, somebody. I think that it's gotten over what 10 million views by now.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
It's like 40
So
million.
if you
18
actually go,
18 million views in around 13 hours, because right now it's close to 10. So 18 million views in around 13 hours is the numbers that DC, aka Warner Brothers, have not hit in quite some time, I don't think.
what's funny is that for a long period of time today, and I think it still might be it, but the teaser trailer for this got more views than the actual trailer did.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I thought that was super funny, because again, there is a lot riding on this, but I love the hype for it. It's fantastic.
So if anybody's not familiar with the guy that the comment that I'm showing here, this is Rob, who's a cousin of mine, who's one of the original founding members of the
Oh.
Countdown City Geeks. So gotta make sure I give him his due and his respect, because he's one of the OGs. Rob says, I respect the passion, but seeing Soups beat down like that made me smile.
Yeah.
He's got a twisted sense of humor. So that's Rob.
Well, I mean, it's going back to of what we were saying, is that for like a long time, in different media, like it's just people see Superman as perfect and invincible. I was talking to a friend about this, and he's like, I really don't, I'm not a real big fan of him, just because of like, he's just so overpowered. He's, all this stuff, like he's invincible and stuff. Like, yeah, he's supposed to, it's how he's written. He was also one of the first comic book superheroes. So it's just like, they, of course he's like that. But I like it when you see Superman, kind of getting his ass kicked. Like because it shows you that he is vulnerable, and then you can relate to him more. There's a difference between, having someone like super like that, but then not to where, you know, there's no human part. And the great thing about Superman is that he's you know, someone from a different planet that is trying to be as human as possible, but maintaining like of where he's from. And the fact they opened the trailer with him, you know, he's all bloodied up and everything, you know, because he's, you know, he got pretty hurt, you know, is showing that this is a very relatable Superman, because, you know, he's going to try and find that balance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ray, your thoughts on it, sir, before we start getting into some Easter eggs and stuff.
No, James Gunn is taking care of the DCU. If you follow him on social media, he's not just focused on the movie, he's focused on the comic side of it as well. He's pushing Absolute Wonder Woman, Absolute Superman. You know, anytime a comic is dropped that's tied to DC, he's right behind it, pushing the books. He really loves what he's doing. He is in the current market where I think he's going to fix what the problems that we had with DCU. So it's going to be interesting what we get out of it. But I mean, we're going to get the haters no matter how you look at it. I mean, look at the haters we got with Alkalite, and look at the, you know, current stuff.
Yeah.
You know, in the Alkalite as well. I mean, the people hated the witches, people hated the whole premise of that stuff. But if you're reading the current Star Wars comics, they're pretty much everything. The witches are in there. I mean, it's taking place right after Return of the Jedi. So it's basically the haters are going to hate, and the true fans are going to love it and follow the storyline. And if the, you know, comic book readers who don't read comics are going to just go and see it, of course, you know. Crypto, I think, really stole the show for me.
Yeah.
And
Frank agrees with you. Frank, what up, Frank?
I mean, because we've seen different versions of Crypto, from Smallville to, you know, Superman and Lois. I mean, we had Alex on the show. We talked about, you know, Superman and Lois. So, I mean, I have faith in James Gunn, and I think everyone should take that chance and have faith in him.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm super nervous, right? Because I support James because he is like a mad scientist.
Yeah.
He is a solid storyteller. The dude made us care about cybernetic bunnies and sea walruses in Guardians 3. Like, seriously, there was a point where I'm like, what? I'm getting emotional over these fake CG characters, amalgamations of animals and robots. Like, James Gunn is a wizard because he can make you as an audience get engaged in the story
Yes.
he wants to tell. He's
Yeah.
that good. He really is. So yeah, I got nothing but confidence in him. But I mean, how many movies have we seen this year that were good, and for some reason or another, the box office didn't really reflect.
None of them
it,
controlled by
or-
James Gunn, though. So
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you. Duke's in the chat saying, "Are they going to get rid of the underwear thing in the new Superman movie, or at least change it to boxers?" They are not going to change it, and I
Yeah.
believe the story about that is that David Corenswet recommended the trunks on the suit because he wanted to seem less intimidating, and he feels that with the underwear-ish style, that's less intimidating to a younger audience. He actually
Yes.
referenced wrestlers
Yes.
when he was
True.
talking about it. So that there you go.
I love that too, just because of there is explanation for it, and it's not just like, hey, I'm wearing, you know, this. Like, there is a reasoning behind it. It's because he wants people not to be afraid of him, because he is an alien from a different planet, and people most of the time don't like things that are different. So how do you find a way to relate to people and kind of, you know, make them not afraid? You know, for example, a lot of people like wrestling. That's a great way to do that. So I love the small details, because, you know, the attention is in the details, and that just makes, you know, it just broadens the whole perspective. So I love that they're doing that. I
And
love that explanation.
It's also showing that there's this collaborative sort of environment that James is setting up. The most successful movies always deal with a collaborative environment. If you look at your favorite movies of all time, the ones that really work are because people are sharing ideas, they're making it work, they're improvising to enhance scenes, and so that's a kind of a key detail of sharing and collaborating. Ray, what
Yep.
was that you were showing us?
This is what he's gonna give us, the Lois and Superman that we got. And the actress that we got for Lois, man, if you haven't watched her in Fabulous Miss Maisel, she is a phenomenal actress. I am looking forward to seeing her portray Lois Lane.
Yeah, I agree. It looks like she definitely looks the part, and she's really talented. So I cannot wait to see that. Duke says, "They're not going to tell the origin of the new movie, are they? They are not. This is something that I think James has talked about on more than one occasion. Not only are they not going to tell the origin of Soups, but we're already in a universe where superheroes are already a thing. They're already established. So in the trailer, you see Green Lantern, you see Hawkgirl, you see Mr. Terrific, and we're not getting sort of the Marvel treatment where everybody gets their own origin movie. We're just jumping in the middle of the action, and I believe the rumor is this movie is going to start with sort of an action sequence. So not only are we not getting an origin movie, but it looks like the pacing is going to be kind of
Yeah.
quick, and we're gonna kind of start off um, on a blast. I don't know what to call it, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a
Yeah.
lot like Spider-Man: Homecoming. We didn't have to show Peter Parker getting bit by the spider. We didn't have to do any backs. Everyone knows he has like Aunt May and
Yes.
Ben Parker. I mean, we all know about Kryptonite. I mean, Superman is
Yeah.
so popular. He has one of the most recognizable logos in the world. I mean, you go anywhere in the world, people know
Yeah.
that logo. So yeah, we know a lot of the backstory already. We can fill that in, hit the ground running. Don't have to explain it. Just go from the start.
yeah. Duke says in all the Superman movies, everyone likes Superman. The thing that bugs me in real life, people would be scared of him. Someone like that would be scary. Yeah, and
Yeah.
we've seen those sort of themes, in previous movies, Man of Steel especially. And
Yeah.
there's also the scene where folks are sort of demonizing him or shunning him. They're throwing trash at him. So there will be some sort of theme that is explored where he's just not seen as this great hero that everybody
Yeah.
loves. There's always going to be a small faction or percentage of folks that do not want him here, and that's probably true in this day and age of highly polarized
Yeah.
political environments. People are always on two sides of a coin, so I would fully understand that there's going to be a large section of folks that are going to hate him for either not being from this planet or
Yeah.
being too overpowered or make up another excuse, and there will be a group of people that will hate him.
Yeah, I think we're gonna
Yeah.
get a lot of that. The alien, that he's an alien, and that's why they hate him so much.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what they did with Bruce Wayne from the Snyderverse, is like he did not like Superman at all to begin with because he was someone from a different planet. He feared him because he was different. Like that was the premise of his character. So
Yeah.
and and it is kind of intimidating if you think about it. Like a stranger from a whole other planet comes in and he wants to be good and he wants to like defend Earth. Like you can see where Lex Luthor and a bunch of these villains will come from of being like, well, no one just does that. No one is good just to be good, because being good like that with that powers is probably rare. It really is rare for uh someone to be that strong and just like powerful in general. You have to have self-discipline to be as good as Superman, not to use your powers for evil. And there's probably going to be a lot of people in the world of DC that aren't going to believe that, because that's a rare thing and Superman is a rare person. So it's going to be a really interesting perspective all the way around. And I like how superheroes will have been established for a while. So it is going to be really interesting to be like, okay, well, if Superman's okay, why is Green Lantern not okay? Like, why is Hawkgirl okay? So it's gonna be really interesting to see that kind of dynamic of what people think.
I think
Yeah.
the reasoning for that is Hawkgirl, Green Lantern, those guys are established. Superman isn't, and I think a threat, maybe primarily maybe that kaiju.
Yeah.
They think Superman is aligned with this brand new threat, I think, that's hitting Metropolis.
Well, yeah, no, like there is a lot of, in interesting things like about that, because of that could be from the Fortress of Solitude, because it's known in the comics that Superman has like a bunch of different creatures and stuff from his home planet and
Right.
and stuff like that from there. And then also it could have been like from Brainiac's kind of museum, like kind of zoo thing that he's gotten on his ship, because of
And Brainiac hasn't been confirmed, right?
right. But Alan Tudyk has been confirmed for the film, but we don't know what role he's playing. So
Okay, so Brainiac is basically confirmed.
yeah, so I could definitely see that because Alan Tudyk is so talented, and he's played so many different iconic voices. He's been almost like every voice in animation. Like, he's so good. So yeah, no, I could definitely see him voicing
From
Brainiac.
Texas too, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Did I know
Plano.
that?
So yeah, no. There's a lot of things that could be happening, and we'll definitely talk about it more in the trailer, because there was a lot to break down in the trailer. But yeah.
Frank says, replying to Duke's question, yeah, I need a Brightburn too, LOL.
So the interesting thing about
so good.
Brightburn was, if people don't know what Brightburn is, it's basically like a reverse Superman story. It's like he came down he's an alien, he has Superman's powers, but the kid's evil. It's an evil Superman, essentially, story. James Gunn was a producer on the film, and he was asked constantly in interviews, hey, would you do a Superman film? He always said flat out, no, I do not want to do a Superman film. So here we are today. So never believe a thing he says.
Never say never, folks. That's the moral of that story.
Yeah.
And then also too, if you didn't watch our interview with Kevin Mangold, he played the stunt double for, Brightburn, the kid.
Yeah, that's right. He actually did. So we had to talk to him about that, get a little behind the scenes action about Brightburn. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. Duke asks, is Superman white or light skin? I've heard rumors he was going to be black. So that is a different project. David and I were just talking about that. David, what's the last
J.J.
thing you heard
Abrams?
about?
Yeah, J.J. Abrams signed a really big deal with the WB. Like, it made him almost a billionaire. And he's got all kinds of projects in the works. We haven't heard a lot from J.J. Abrams though in the WB. And now, since James Gunn and Peter Safran have taken the lead of the DCU, which is under WB, there was a project that was leaked that J.J. Abrams was working on his own Superman story, which could still happen, because the great thing about the new DCU and James Gunn controlling it, he said there can be Elseworld stories. We don't have to stay in the same storyline as the DCU, so we could do other projects, do different things, which is what the Matt Reeves Batman is with Robert Pattinson right now.
Yes.
It's more of an Elseworld type story. So J.J. Abrams wanted to make a Superman story that was a little different, and he wanted specifically for his Superman to be black. So that would have been interesting. And the star that was tagged to it was Michael B. Jordan. So we might get that. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. Frank's in the chat saying, what's up? Thanks again for those screening pass tickets. Sonic 3 was fire. My team and I really loved it. Ready for the next one already. Dude, I'm
Nice.
so glad, number one, that you got the tickets. You've been one of our followers for a long time, one of our biggest followers. And it's super awesome, man. I will tease it right now. I am working on the next screening. I don't know the exact cities that we're going to be incorporating, but I will reveal the movie at the end of this stream. So anybody watching, our next screening coming up will happen the first week of January, and I will reveal what it is at the end of the stream.
Nice.
Duke says, so the underwear joke will continue? Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Let's see. He also says, of course, they already made a black Superman. His name was Hancock.
I'm still waiting for that sequel because I thought the first movie was actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's too
Oh.
funny.
Yeah. We might have just lost Ted. I don't.
Nope, still
Oh, his
here.
camera
Just,
went out.
Oh, okay.
just fixing the camera there. Frank says, I'm feeling it was Goku that laid out Superman that opening shot.
So Colin made reference to
Oh, that's too
someone
funny.
who beat up Superman. Who do you think beat up Superman, or do you know Colin?
So yes. So
Yes to what?
well, I was about to get to it. So there is in the trailer you also see Ultraman, which is really interesting because of he's supposed to be like Superman but not, and then there's rumors that he might be like this universe's Bizarro and stuff. Which, if that's the case, there's a lot going on in this movie because of you've got Lex, you have the potential of Brainiac showing up, and then you have Ultraman, which is already like those are three big Superman villains right there. So if you have all that going on, that's crazy. I don't think Lex Luthor is going to be like a main villain. I think he's more going to be like this will be like his origin of really starting to like hate Superman. It's already been said that Lex hates Superman at this point, but I think at the end of this movie, this is when he's going to make it his main priority of being like, all right, I'm going to like take down Superman. I think that will be his story arc in this. But Superman dealing with, Ultraman and possibly Brainiac, which bringing Brainiac in like in movie number 1 is already crazy because he is a big villain. So if that ends up being the case, that would be insane. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but there's just a lot of signs hinting to it, especially if you watch the trailer and like you see the different things in the background. So but yeah, so that's my guess that either it is Ultraman or Brainiac.
Yeah, James Gunn has said that Superman and Lex Luthor have not met personally yet. So yeah. Lex Luthor has seen Superman from afar and doesn't admire him.
The other thing is, I don't think that like he's fighting someone directly in the snow, right? I think that he was injured and then he just he was just so weak that he fell and he crash landed. So I don't think he was fighting someone right there. I think he was just crash landing from being weak.
So correct me if I'm wrong here.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But the only way you can hurt Superman and make him bleed like that is if you have some form of like kryptonite usage against him, correct?
It's
and magic. Yes. If you are a magic user as well, because of he is vulnerable towards magic. Any person that he fights, like Dr. Fate, or I know Ray could probably list way more than me, but but yeah, no, there is it's kryptonite and magic as far as I know. Ted, it sounded like you had something else.
Yeah, so he gets his powers from a yellow sun. So anything that negates those powers. In the comics, you have everything from a red sun to red UV light, which was actually done in the Superman and Lois finale, which is really cool. Not the finale; it might have been the episode before the finale. But so anything that can negate his cells absorbing the yellow sun's rays, whatever you want to call it, UV light, will also do the trick. However, I'm wondering if I know Colin's got a thing, but I'm wondering if he just got like, in my head canon, he just got like knocked, like punched, and like went or halfway around the world and landed in like
landed
Antarctica
close to home
or the North Pole.
Yeah.
That's just kind of where my first thought was. Jen's in the chat saying he's an alien. Should have mattered. What's up, Jen? How's it going? Long time friend of the show. We've actually done a live stream before. It's been years since we did a live stream with
I
Jen.
remember her.
gotta
Yeah, she went
bring
to
Jen back one of
Smallville.
these
Yeah, she did
days.
the tour. She went to go see all the film sets where they filmed Smallville. She's a big Smallville fan as well.
Huge.
Yeah, I remember her. I used to work with her around Alamo City time. She used to cosplay a lot as well.
Frank says we appreciate y'all for those links. Oh, you're very welcome, sir. Duke says evil Superman, and I wonder if there might be some plot twist later on because I know Colin's talking about Ultraman, but we got Crypto, and I'm wondering if
Yeah.
Crypto is an actual. He is a result of an experiment.
Or a
Um,
Kryptonian.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
I think in the comics, I don't know for sure about this, but in the comics, he's been an experiment sometimes.
Yep.
And when they
Different
try
versions.
and clone Clark or like mimic his powers, and so if Crypto is a clone, if they try and go that route in the story, then maybe Ultraman is also a clone, and maybe we'll get like a twist later on where he is either a version of Clark or he might be Superboy, who's an actual clone. But
That would be
don't quote me
interesting.
on that.
Yeah.
That's just a thought.
I could see him being this universe's Bizarro just because, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Ultraman's from a different universe,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Different
right.
universe.
Yeah. So if it ends up, I mean, they could just use the name Ultraman because if they're
Yeah.
just trying to come up with something, and then the plot twist is like, he is a clone. I think Bizarro would be more of like okay, just because of introducing the multiverse like that quick is like, okay, or like, all right, because I already feel like there's already a lot going on, so if they do the multiverse thing right away, that's kind of crazy, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because James Gunn, he just likes to dive in and just explode the story as much as he can. So I could see that plot twist 100%.
James-
David earlier. Go ahead, Ray.
No, I was gonna say James Gunn. Yeah, I mean he's gonna use. So a lot of people are saying he's using All Star Superman are references from All Star Superman, where he flew too close to the sun, and he got too much exposure to the sun, which caused him to start his powers to start where he's gonna become normal, kind of. And then James Gunn is a big fan of Superman, hardcore to the point where he even said when on he went on a Michael Rosenbaum's podcast and basically stated that his Lex is Rosenbaum. He liked Rosenbaum portrayal of Lex Luthor. And if you look at in the images there, in the last Superman, it was Lex Corp. This one he uses Luthor Corp, which was used in Smallville. So he's paying homage to Smallville in there.
Oh, good catch. Good catch. Earlier in the stream, Dave talked about the kaiju is the one that causes explosion, and so I paused it just right. So yeah, we are seeing what looks like the foot of the kaiju hitting those air tanks and causing it to explode. Jen's in the chat saying "boop crypto." Duke saying Bizarro was a bad guy. I thought he was just an idiot. Of course, it's not his fault. Yeah, and there's been some different variations of him, but
Yeah.
it is a possibility. And Jen says, "Woot woot, Smallville!" Absolutely, massive fan. Duke's
Yep.
asking, "Are you saying Ultraman could be a perfected clone?" And yeah, I think I don't put it past James to throw in like a plot twist somewhere in this movie. And being that Ultraman, I'm gonna put quotes here. Ultraman is like completely covered up from head to toe.
Yeah.
It just feels like that's the easiest place for a plot twist, to where like that mask comes off, and it's either a mirror version of Clark or
Yeah.
it's a younger version, to where he will then be designated as like the Superboy of this universe.
Connor Kent.
Just saying, happens a lot in the animated universe. So yeah, I wouldn't put it past James to kind of use some of those story arcs. But again, I have no evidence, so don't come back at me and say it didn't happen. And I'm gonna be like, I know it was just a thought. It wasn't really a theory. Let's see here. Got a few more images. This one was quick. You got to pause it just right. This is the wounded duck. This is actually
Yes.
from the comics. And I forget which one exactly, but I believe in one story, either Tim Drake owned it or he's like tied to this, place. So this is right next to the Daily Planet. So if you pause it just right, you'll see the outside of it. So this is an Easter egg, kind of a throwback, a deep cut in the comics. If you do that.
Yeah.
All right. There's also
I really love how they're just taking stuff from the comics and just being like, okay, we are going to make this the most comic book film as much as we can. And I love how when you see the Daily Planet, it feels like the Daily Planet, like the classic Daily Planet from the comics, and it looks so good.
1000%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Even
base,
Smallville's, they have kind of the globe kind of thing from Smallville.
Yeah.
yeah. The baseball stadium that we saw Superman fighting in is actually owned by the Metropolis Meteorites or the Meteors. So there's also, I think, either a shirt or a team somewhere in the trailer. So that is also pulled from comic book lore. Then we also got Stag Industries, and this is an interesting one. This is also the building that we see Guy Gardner's Green Lantern in. So,
Yeah.
Stag Industries is in the comics the reason why Rex Mason was transformed into Metamorpho. So, if we have Stag Industries, if they've already got the technology to transform Rex Mason into Metamorpho, then there's probably other ways they can either like mutate people or try and clone folks. So maybe Stag is behind sort of the nefarious ongoings that are happening in this film. Multi-million dollar chemical and genetic research company owned by Simon Stagg, who's a big time villain in the comics.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Mm-mm-mm-mm. This one, I'm going to get the name wrong. Helix, AI robot within the Fortress
Yeah.
of Solitude.
I love how they're
Somebody,
showing it too.
yeah, somebody ripped it apart. So somebody found the Fortress of Solitude and ripped this robot apart. But Helix is definitely from the comics. And I don't know if we've seen actual named Helix in any of the live action iterations of the Fortress, but I'm glad they're kind of pulling this one out. And so again, I wonder who found the Fortress and who tore this robot apart. But you can clearly see Clark's sort of emotions coming out, and the way that he's sort of suffering over the loss of this robot.
I also, just from this one shot alone, I love how the fortress looks like the Fortress of Solitude from 1978. Like it just looks like it, and I love that so much.
Oh yeah, 100%. The way they did it in the trailer, and I'll see if I can find a few shots here. But yeah, it looks like a complete throwback to the way it was either created or the way it
Yeah.
was sort of born or bred out of the ice. Here, I think I got one we could check out here. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, here's a shot of it coming out with a big
Yep.
with crystals. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
A lot of callbacks, a lot of throwbacks. I mean, James knows what he's doing. He's
Yeah.
not. This is not his first rodeo, folks, and so he's gonna make sure that he's honoring the past as well as trying to give us new and refreshing ideas. And part of that, means bringing out all these other heroes. So everybody's talking about Green Lantern. Where's he at?
Oh yeah.
Where is he?
Yeah, I think Colin can speak to this version of Green Lantern because he was telling me all about him, and
Yeah,
this seems
yeah.
like very accurate.
Yeah. So, Guy Gardner was a really interesting choice to bring into this. Just because of, to me, Nathan Fillion, I always thought would have been a great Hal Jordan. So it's gonna be really interesting to see him as Guy Gardner. Guy Gardner is this Green Lantern, which you think should not be a Green Lantern. Like he is just a dick. He is like so like he is so full of himself all the time. So it's really going to be interesting to see him work alongside Superman, because Superman has a completely different personality compared to Guy. So it's really going to be interesting to see of where this goes. But if you can tell from the uniforms, they are they're backed up by Maxwell Lord, right? Yeah. So it kind of like the uniforms kind of seem off. Like that's not your traditional Green Lantern look. So that also kind of threw me off. But the whole haircut, like the bowl cut, that is spot on. For the people who are like, that just doesn't look right, that is what it looks like.
Looks like the owner of the Raiders.
A lot of comments reference the Raiders owner today. Yeah, there's been hundreds of comments just about his look alone. And for anyone who's not completely familiar, Guy Gardner is like the prick of the DC Comics heroes.
Yeah.
And so if he looks like a prick, it's because he really is one in the comics, and all the other
you'll hate him.
iterations.
Yeah. There's also a comic of where Batman just gets fed up with him and just knocks him out in one punch too. So I really hope that we see that on screen one day, just because I think that would be hilarious. Because of he's got a mouth on him. Like he just doesn't care. He's so full of himself. And you just kind of wonder, like, how on earth did this ring choose him? And they'll probably, talk about that. But yeah, it is an interesting choice to bring Guy Gardner in, but every role that Nathan Fillion does, like you just fall in love with it. So I can't wait to see what he does with the character.
I have a theory, and again, this is one of those theories where like I don't have a ton of evidence, but just stick with me for a second. So we already know that we have a Hal Jordan that's going to be in the HBO Lanterns series.
Yeah.
And trying to remember the actor's name, Kyle Chandler. So Kyle Chandler is actually playing the Hal Jordan of this DCU.
Yeah, and I found that interesting casting choice because I never saw him as a Hal Jordan.
You know what? There is a picture going around online of a sort of a more grizzled, older Hal Jordan.
Yeah,
and Kyle Chandler's pulling that look off.
Okay.
Like spot on. So my sort of head theory or whatever is kind of going to what if they are casting a much older Hal, because Kyle Chandler is already 50, almost 60?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's about to be 60 next year. So I'm actually thinking that the Hal Jordan of the DCU isn't going to be around very long. And I know that sounds sort of dark, but that's also been the rumor with the Lanterns series, is that it's going to be a dark one, and it's going to be potentially a passing of the torch to John Stewart of that show.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually wondering if that's why Nathan Fillion didn't play the Hal Jordan of this universe, because Hal's not going to be around very long. And so maybe Nathan's like, no, I want to play in this sandbox for a while. So, all right, we'll give you a different role. We'll give you Guy Gardner because maybe James plans to keep him around.
Yeah.
And I think that's just where kind of my thoughts are going.
That almost feels like a marketing move to me, because there's so much stigma with Hal Jordan and Ryan Reynolds and how that movie was horrible. I liked it. I really liked that movie.
Yeah.
But having John Stewart kind of be the face of Green Lantern and the Green Lantern Corps series feels like the right kind of pivot from everyone's the general public's experience with Green Lantern. So
Yeah, and I agree with that. I also love how when James Gunn like took over, he actually talked to Ryan Reynolds and as a joke was like, "Hey, do you want to come back?" And Ryan Reynolds was like, "Hell no." Like hell no. So yeah, no, I also want to say there is a version of Guy Gardner where he doesn't have the actual bowl cut. So in the future, we could see where he gets his kind of buzz cut look. So for fans that don't like the bowl cut, just be patient. It will probably change. But as of right now, I think this is a pretty, standard Guy Gardner look. I just don't know how I feel about like the actual uniform itself. But they're going to make it make sense like why their uniforms look like that. But these aren't the only heroes that we'll see, because we got Mr. Terrific, we have the Engineer, we have Metamorpho, and then we have Supergirl will also be in it, but we don't know to what extent of what her role will be in. Yeah. So
I don't think I heard that information. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Supergirl's
It
gonna
can't
be
be
in the
that
film?
big.
Yeah,
Probably.
like not a big role. I think it will be more of, because down the road, Supergirl's going to have her own movie.
Yeah,
So
the year after, yeah.
yeah, so my guess is we'll probably see like some type of scene of where he's thinking about Krypton or something like that, and we see Supergirl there. I don't think it's going to be like like present day Supergirl's just hanging out. Like I think it's kind of soon for her to show up. So I think we'll see her at some point. What have they done to My Beautiful Boy? Yeah. That haircut will, have to be something that we all get used to. But if you know the character, like it's just something you're gonna have to accept. It is weird he is blonde though, because he is a ginger in the comics. So seeing him blonde is kind of interesting.
Hey, isn't that the Edgar haircut?
He's from the West Side, Ray. That's why. He's from the West Side.
Oh, it's freaking hilarious.
Not going to forget about Isabella Merced, who's in the background there as Hawk
Yeah, it's a
Girl.
great shot of her.
Can we just quickly go over like the year and a half that she's had in movies, because she's come a long way since Dora, actually.
That's crazy.
She was in Transformers The Last Night, 2017. I'm going a little far back there.
Yep.
But she was just in Migration, which is fantastic, animated film. Madam Web, she was not the bad part about Madam Web. Alien Romulus, she was fantastic in Romulus. She's in the second season of The Last of Us, I believe. She's playing Dina, who's a well-known character in the game, and now she's playing Hawkgirl in the DCU. So she's having an incredible run of films right now. Just amazing.
It's kind of funny because when you say Hawk Girl, it sounds a lot like Hot Girl a lot of the times. So yeah, it's working out for her career. I mean, yeah, she's in Superman, so can't really get much bigger than that.
No.
Kenobi says, "I totally forget about that Transformers movie." Well, yeah,
I think most of us did.
Reminding us that.
That was the longest one too. That last Transformers, like the Last Night, was the longest Transformers movie, which is hilarious. But yeah, and then we got Hot Girl in action. I really love because of all these characters have really rich history, so I really can't wait to see what they end up doing.
So yeah, Mr. Terrific is there along with Guy Gardner and Hawk Girl.
We got two actors.
They're all a
from
part of
X-Men
this.
First Class. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all a part of this.
They're super friends.
Well, I think somebody asked in the comments during the trailer, "Is this the JLA?" Like, no, it's not the JLA. It's they're
JSA.
working for one of the villains.
Yeah.
Oh, man, dude, I want the Wonder Twins. I want the Wonder Twins.
with the
I
monkey.
want Meek the monkey. Like, I want that. Like, I really would love to see that on screen so bad.
That
We
would've
almost
been
had it in
catchy.
Smallville.
Yeah.
They introduced them in Smallville.
They also had the cameo, well, like of like it was in the Crisis on Infinite Earths, like of the CW shows, and they had like a brief like thing of Meek, of where you see his cage and then you hear the sound of a monkey. But yeah.
I
Yeah.
really want to know what that floating thing in the background is. Is this where you think Brainiac's coming into play, Colin?
Yes, because of you have like the tentacles like coming out. It could just be like a random alien thing from a different dimension, or it could be, someone. Or here's a theory. Ready? Someone breaks into the Fortress of Solitude, where Superman has all of these different creatures from Krypton and stuff, and then they get set loose on the world, and then that's why people are mad, because they find out that Superman had all of these like dangerous creatures, and then that's where people think of Superman like as the villain of this, and he's kind of like framed for all this stuff. So yeah, that's something that I could see them doing. But if it ends up being Brainiac, that's great too. Alan Tudyk is cast as a character we don't know, but who knows? And then this character right here is Metamorpho. He's played by the same actor who plays Zaz in Gotham, which is cool that they're doing where they've got some actors who play different characters in DC, and they're having them jump over.
Yeah, he's played by Anthony Carrigan, who's been in everything that you may or may not know about, but he was at his best in Barry, who plays NoHo Hank, which is one of the greatest fictional characters in all of TV. So if you've never watched Barry, I beg you to watch it, because Anthony Carrigan is just hilarious in that role as NoHo Hank. I don't even know where to begin to describe him. He's such like a cartoonish type character, and he just makes that show what it is. So yeah, Anthony Carrigan. I'm glad he's still getting work, and yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff. He's been in multiple DC roles before on like CW shows and whatnot. So
yeah, because he was in The Flash.
Yeah,
and then he played Zaz in Gotham. Yeah, it's cool.
Lex looks tough.
Yeah.
And he's crying too. Oh shoot. What happened? Who hurt you?
Plot twist. That's Wayne Tower, guys. Wayne Tower. That's crumbling over. Just kidding.
Who do you think they'll cast as Batman? I really want them to do Jensen Ackles. I think he would be a great choice for Batman. He's no stranger to the character, because he's played Jason Todd. He's done the voice of Bruce Wayne as well. So I could definitely see him doing it in live action.
I need like a week to really think about it. I take Batman so seriously, and I
get it.
I really don't know. And full disclosure, I love Affleck as Batman. I really do. And for folks say that no, he wasn't great Batman. No, he was actually the perfect Batman for that universe.
I agree.
Where Batman, listen, Joker's always talked about this in every comic that they've been in together. Batman's always been just like an inch away from being full blown crazy.
Yeah.
And you finally got to see Bruce Wayne go full blown crazy in the Snyderverse, in the the BVS movie, and for great reason too. It was just I loved it. So I would really like to just take some time and figure out who I would pick. But Duke agrees with you.
Yeah,
Ackles would be fantastic. He says.
Yeah, but it's the only question I have, and I want to ask you guys, with the casting of David Cornsweet, he is very, very tall. Is that going to make a difference on like who they cast as far as Batman going like height wise?
Jensen Ackles is actually pretty tall too.
Is he?
Yeah,
he looked kind of small to me.
Hang on, is he? I will hang on.
He also he was also before Smallville. He had tried out for Clark Kent.
He's 6'1". Yeah, and he's 46 years old too. So, but that works with the whole Damian Wayne plotline with the Brave and the Bold. Right? Yeah.
Toby's in the chat saying Batfleck was great. He totally agrees.
I think the reason why people had a problem with the way that Batman was in the Snyderverse was because of you just had the Dark Knight Rises, right? Like you Christian Bale was amazing as Batman, and he struggled with the no killing thing, and then you jump to a movie where Batman kills like every guy. Like,
I love that.
you're right. And people don't understand of the version of Batman that he was playing. He was playing that version that you're talking about, Ted, where he got past the point because the Joker broke him, because Joker killed Robin, and that sent him over the edge. So I think that's what people couldn't wrap their heads around, because they were so used to seeing the Christian Bale version of Batman, where he never crossed that line.
Well,
So
hold on. I agree with you, and then
Yeah.
but the people that say like he should be more like Christian Bale, who never killed anybody, watch those movies. Bale killed a crap ton of people. Do y'all
Well-
remember in Dark Knight Rises, Bale was in the Bat, the flying vehicle. You know what he was doing? He was mowing down people, bullets, missiles.
Oh, they were
He-
just
he-
sleeping. It's fine.
Bale killed so many people, and I always tell people that like if you pay attention, a lot of folks and some cops even in cop cars like got seriously injured by Christian Bale's driving skills.
It's just a special move. It's called the nap of justice. Like it. Yeah. Come on, Ted.
You listen. This is kind of just for me here. This is the shot of Crypto is like really amazing, and the
Man,
fact
Crypto-
that James picked this dog, he said he did because he actually adopted a dog recently,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
gave him the inspiration for Crypto. I'm not trying to like ruin anybody's day here. My family lost our dog earlier this summer, and we were absolutely devastated because he was the sweetest dog you'll like ever meet, and he was slightly bigger than Crypto is in this picture and slightly darker in color, but the rest of like his body shape and his face and everything is extremely similar. So he sort of reminds my family and I of a younger version of our dog. If our dog had like white fur, which he didn't, it was like golden, sort of brown. So I don't know. It just feels like it's really special that Crypto kind of reminds us of our dog, and it's probably gonna hit me really hard when I'm watching the movie.
Yeah.
And he's doing things and saving the day and all that stuff, and it just reminds me of our dog so much.
Yeah, and this is the first I see of the collar kind of clear with the Superman logo as the tag. It's like, man, that's awesome. But I was gonna say Crypto is such a cheat code for this movie because
yeah.
everyone, I think, universally was like, oh my gosh, Crypto really works. And that was one thing I was kind of nervous about. Maybe not so much nervous, but I was kind of curious to see how James Gunn was gonna pull off the dog. But Crypto works, man. It's working. It's working
Yeah.
in the teaser trailer, and I think it's gonna work all throughout the movie. And I think Crypto is gonna have his moment to shine. He's gonna save the day or do something. There's gonna be something in the movie where Crypto does something fantastical, and
So
I can't wait to see it.
So I don't know. I mean, this was kind of during my time. This might have been past your guys' time, but growing up, there was the Crypto Dog like kind of TV show, and I remember like watching that, and that's the first thing that popped in my head when I saw him. I was like, that's so cool, because of it's just like again, this is a fine example that James Gunn is bringing all of these aspects of Superman and paying homage to that, to like all sides of Superman, and I love that they have Crypto in this. And I think you're right, David. I think this will bring other. I think this will bring in other audience members in as well, like because two people, sometimes a dog is their Superman. Like their dog is there for them. So I can see how people are going to be excited about Crypto. Like it's real cool.
The big thing about this scene, because everyone's like kind of just overlooking it. We're talking about Superman's hurt. He's not only hurt, he is paralyzed. He's being dragged. Like for a reason, he called Cryptos because he cannot move. So who has I don't know, so I'm kind of asking who has the ability to paralyze Superman. There's probably a short list of characters. I'm wondering if like a villain like Parasite is in this thing
That is
because
possible.
Parasite can siphon his
Yeah.
energy, his power, and it might leave him in this sort of state. But yeah, this is it's really odd that it's being dragged, but he's being dragged because he's completely paralyzed, which not a lot of villains can do that to Clark.
Well, remember, there's a scene where you see Lex with a gun, and there's also a kryptonite, bullet. So who's to say he didn't shoot him with a kryptonite bullet and it's lodged in him, which is,
Oh
you
yeah.
know,
There you go.
Yeah. And there is a scene of where Lex Luthor has the gun and he's wearing a ring, but he does wear a ring that does have kryptonite on it
yeah.
in the comics, but they could have just taken that out of the trailer, like they animated out it, so they have to keep the audience guessing. But yeah, I mean, that could not be Ultraman. I mean, they could.
I think it
because
is.
of-
It could be Doomsday too, because you remember Doomsday
Yeah.
had somewhat of a similar suit as well. Not
Introducing
identical
Doomsday
like that.
this early though would just kind of be wild. Like,
Yeah.
could you
and,
imagine
and
if?
Brainiac and Lex
Yeah,
Luthor.
no, yeah. So I mean, so it really has to make you think, like, who is it? Like, what's their like goal here? Like, what's going on? Because of I think that's the beauty of this trailer too, is that it's making you guess like all this stuff. Like, who is the true villain? We know it's not Lex.
It's Henry Cavill. That's who's under that suit. Henry Cavill, guys.
Oh,
You
God.
took my job. Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Mr. Terrific looks fantastic. Nah,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
No
just
pun
like Alex
intended.
Ross, the way he drew him.
I
in the
would say he
comic.
looks terrific.
He looks
Aha.
terrific.
Nice,
they,
nice, David.
they tried it in the Arrow show. They tried Mr. Terrific, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was either
Yeah.
Arrow or Flash, and all they used was
Arrow.
paint, and a mask looks 10 times better than it was just
Yep.
sort of paint down and across his eyes. So yeah,
Yeah.
kudos to them for actually making an actual mask for Mr. Terrific.
Yeah, this actor
Well-
also played Darwin in First Class,
Yes.
along with Nicholas Hoult, who played
Yep.
Beast.
I think the difference between this Mr. Terrific and the Mr. Terrific that we see in the Arrow show is that in the Arrow show, he was more of a vigilante. He was not like the businessman that we're probably gonna see in this movie because the character of Mr. Terrific, he owns like a big business. So I could, and that's where he gets all the finances for all of this technology, and that's the big difference between the one that we see in the CW and then in this one.
The other brilliant thing here, if you go back to the beginning there, Ted, where you see Clark Kent running through the crowd, one of the biggest all-time gripes about Superman is how does he like fool people only with glasses? Doing his hair like this makes him look
good.
so different from
I
what
love
Superman looks like. He doesn't even look like Superman here. So the hair thing was so genius to put all the hair in the front and then he just slicks it back when he's Superman. So that's another kind of great little thing that we got out of the teaser trailer.
I think seeing him. So the question is like, what is his transformation gonna look like? Do you think we'll see the classic thing of where he's running the alley and he does it like where he like rips off the shirt and he takes off? Because the hair, for people who have like, awesome hair, like all of us here, it's just like, you are going to have to slick it back. You're going to have to like comb it and like all that stuff. So I'm really curious of what's going to go on there. Because of, he's going to put a hair gel or something. That's the main villain of this movie is, time. Because he's going to take the time to comb his hair. Yeah.
And so this is Colin was talking about how great the Daily Planet looks fantastic.
So good.
I believe
Awesome.
that's Michaela Hoover who plays Cat Grant. Michaela's like a really good friend of Gunn's, and so she's like in every movie that he does. You'll find her in Suicide Squad. You'll find her in the Guardians movies. A few of them, not all of them, but a few of them. And so yeah, she's getting to play Cat Grant in this one. I wonder if this character is also an Easter egg. She's like a celebrity or something. Um, I wonder if that's a thing, but I couldn't find a clear shot of the headline on the TV. Oh, and that's behind Clark is SNL alum
Yes.
Beck Bennett, yeah.
Beck Bennett as Steve Lombard. So
He's a
I
sportscaster. Yeah.
congrats to Beck Bennett who got a role on a DC Comics movie. That's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
He's hilarious. He's
Well-
one of my favorite all-time cast members on SNL.
Well, I'm working on the guy who created Cat Grant for an
Oh, cool.
interview. He told me to reach back out to him in January. So he just didn't create Cat Grant. He created Cyborg, created Blade. So
That's really
he's one of
cool.
my interviews that I'm really pushing for that I'm going to hopefully get in January because I'm
That's
a
awesome.
big Blade fan as well. So it's going to be very interesting, man. I would get to talk about another character of his being on the big screen.
Yeah.
Rachel as Lois Lane. I want that
Yeah.
coffee mug.
Oh,
I want that
dude.
Daily Planet coffee mug.
Come on.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. You guys are too young, but this Lois Lane, I fell in love with her when I first saw her in Superman.
Too young.
But I was young, but dude, she was beautiful as Lois Lane. So when they casted her as Lois Lane, I mean, I've
Yeah.
seen numerous versions of Lois Lane, but to me, she fits her just perfect in every format because I know her acting's gonna pull it off because of how Lois is. The Lois from Superman and Lois was great too. But I don't know, man. I just can't wait. I want to see her in action.
Yeah, I believe right there where Ted's cursor is, that's Jimmy Olsen.
Jimmy
That's Jimmy
Olsen.
Olsen, played
Mhm.
by Skylar Gisondo. And I don't believe that's Millie. But oh man, they look
Mm.
very similar. I don't
Yeah.
think it's Millie.
No.
Nah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the casting in this movie was just fantastic because of it's like yes, there are known actors in this, but there's also these actors that haven't been in that many projects that are just gonna make it more. Because there are movies where there are actors that have that much kind of star power that can kind of steal the show. So I'm kind of glad that they found that balance of people that we really know and some actors that are new, that are more newer. So how do you
Yeah.
guys feel about the Kent farm and his parents? You don't see his mom in the trailer, but his dad's right there.
You can say it, Colin. You can say it. Martha. Yeah, I think they did the old switcheroo.
Why did you
here
say
where
that name?
Pa Kent- I think they did the switcheroo where Pa Kent is alive and Martha is the one that passes. I think
They,
Okay.
they do have somebody cast as Martha,
Yes. Yeah.
so we might get a flashback or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe this character actor here, I believe he's the guy from The Dark Knight who has the cell phone in his stomach, I believe. Is that correct? Or am I wrong?
Let me see his face again.
Oh
They never really show his
no,
face.
that's
but-
not
Yeah.
him.
That's not
This
the guy.
is Pruitt Taylor Vince.
Yeah.
He's in Constantine. He's in Identity. He plays the sort of mental patient in Identity who's having schizophrenia. This guy's been in a lot of stuff. Always sort of side characters or So yeah, no, I recognize this guy completely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I didn't know it was him. They never really
Yeah,
showed
he's
his
been in
face.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He
Yep.
was in Bird Box.
Good for him.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. No, I am excited for this movie. And they also moved the date. We were
The Walking
talking
Dead.
about that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. They did move the date of this movie. It was supposed to come out the same weekend as Fantastic Four because it was supposed to be out the same weekend as
Court.
San Diego Comic-Con. and then they pushed it back to July 11th.
They played the old chicken game there.
Yeah. It's still crazy though, because like that the whole month of July is just gonna be stacked, like completely stacked. Because if you got this movie, you got Fantastic Four, and then you have Jurassic World Rebirth, all coming out in the same month. So that's just gonna be nuts.
So
Well, what I like to call the Scarlett Johansson movie. But don't you guys think that it would be okay if they release Fantastic Four and Superman the same weekend? Everyone's going to see those movies. If you look at like past events, we had the whole Barbenheimer thing. Everyone saw Barbie. Everyone saw Oppenheimer. Then you had the whole Glick thing or whatever. Everyone saw Wicked and everyone saw Gladiator 2. I mean, it still kind of works.
But let's be honest. Who saw Wicked more than?
It's like basically Star Wars and Star Trek being released in the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's kind of programming there.
Yeah, I don't think that would be the best move because of, there are some people that are more excited for something else. So I think like they kind of made a smart move to push it back. But it is interesting that they are doing it. Huh?
I disagree. They should have them both on one weekend and have another event for 2000.
Here's why that won't happen. Here's why that won't happen, because both of those films are either filmed in or for IMAX.
Yeah,
and IMAX is not going to compete two movies on the same weekend.
But they're so close together.
Right, but Superman was made specifically for IMAX. We don't know if Fantastic Four is yet. I think it might be.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
of course it is. What do you mean?
It'll be shown in IMAX, but I don't think it was shot with IMAX. Was Superman shot with IMAX cameras?
It said it was meant to be seen in IMAX, so I assumed that
we have Galactus in Fantastic Four. If it's not in IMAX, then what are we even doing here?
Right. I mean, that goes.
You go talk to them, Ted. You go talk to them.
I'll be right back. I know Anthony Russo.
There you go.
So, do you think with this trailer dropping, I mean, I know we got a teaser that it was dropping, but do you think Marvel is going to come out in a couple of days or a week next week and drop a trailer or a teaser for Fantastic Four?
I could see them doing that. Because of the hype is all around DC right now. I could see them dropping something on Christmas Day and be like, Merry Christmas, and then
Superman was shot entirely in IMAX.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which
David
is awesome.
and I were talking about this earlier, but they missed the opportunity to have Fantastic Four to come out on July 4th. But they didn't do it because Jurassic Rebirth is around that date. I don't know if it's exactly on July 4th, but
Fantastic Four shot entirely in IMAX.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Okay.
Man, you have like two Titans now. I mean, how are they going to figure out the IMAX scenario? Because Superman comes out July 11th. Fantastic Four comes out the end of the month. I mean, what are they going to do? Are they going to interchange them? Like, do different show time? I mean,
they could jump back and forth, but the other thing about the theater business is like they sign different contracts in order to get their movies in theaters. So sometimes they're like, okay, if we are getting, for example, Superman, we have to have it in IMAX specifically because, it is rare for theaters to have, maybe more than, 2 IMAX screens. Like in Michigan, for example, there's only 2 IMAX screens out of the entire state. Like just only 2, which is crazy. So it's just like you have to find that, balance, and they also sign certain contracts sometimes. So
this comes out the 11th of July. Fantastic Four comes out the 25th. That's 2 weeks. And you said Jurassic World comes out when?
On July 4th.
2nd.
Yeah,
okay.
Okay.
Then Jurassic Park's will be the one that suffers because they're only going to get a week of IMAX screens. Now, unless something else comes out that I'm not aware of, Superman's going to get 2 weeks worth of IMAX screens, and Then what's it called? Fantastic Four will take over.
But isn't Fantastic Four coming out the same weekend as San Diego Comic-Con?
It
Yeah.
is. It absolutely is.
Yep.
It
So,
absolutely
The
is.
big question that we should be talking about is what
When are
kind
we
of
going?
popcorn bucket are we going to get for Superman and freaking Fantastic Four?
Oh
It's
God.
gonna be a crypto bucket for sure.
I
don't want that.
can see them doing like a Fortress of Solitude, like,
You think
and
so?
Ah,
and then
yeah.
you like open the top of it, and then it's like the popcorn inside.
Oh, or it glows up like the Wicked ones where the box lights
Hey.
up.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we I'm sorry.
Fortress of Solitude, or like a Daily Planet, and you open.
Oh, there you go.
Hey.
Yeah, for Lord of the Rings of the new one, they we got like the which I was surprised, but it's this giant like hammer of Helm Hammerhand, and you open like the cap of the actual like hammer, and you put popcorn inside. But it was like a full hammer, so when like we would hand it to people, it had like the handle inside. You would have to take it out of the thing and twist it together and put the popcorn bucket together. So it was like a full out toy. Like it was
Dang.
wild. Yeah.
So let's see. All right, there is an official press release synopsis for Superman. I'll just read it out loud. But here's since we're kind of already wrapping up, the official press release synopsis. Superman, DC Studios' first feature film to hit the big screen, is set to soar into theaters worldwide this summer from Warner Brothers Pictures. In his signature style, James Gunn takes on the original superhero in the newly imagined DC universe with a singular blend of epic action, humor, and heart, delivering a Superman who's driven by compassion and an inherent belief in the goodness of humankind. Awesome.
There you go.
And then it goes on to list the cast members. You know who we didn't talk about that we don't need to? I'll just go ahead and just list them real quick. Is Maxwell Lord is being played
Yeah.
Sean
by
Gunn.
Sean Gunn. Yeah, James' brother. Shout out to Tommy, who actually interviewed Sean Gunn, who is Maxwell Lord. Interviewed him at the Space Con back in October. Space Con San Antonio back in October. So yeah, I had no idea he was playing Maxwell Lord. That's a big step up for Gunn. For
This
Sean
is
Gunn.
the third character that he's played in DC because he played Calendar Man, and then he played the
Weasel?
I can't
No,
Weasel,
fourth.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Fourth?
then he's actually a character in Creature Commandos.
Oh
G.I.
yeah.
Robot.
Yes.
It's not Weasel. It's another
Yeah.
character. I can't remember.
G.I. Robot.
Yeah, G.I. Robot.
Okay, wow. Yeah. Shoot. Yeah. I mean, good for him jumping from Marvel to like DC, he's
Well, it's James
He's-
Gunn's brother.
yeah. I mean,
So wherever
still,
James Gunn goes, he's gonna bring over his brother.
it's still cool though. Yeah. Him playing Calendar Man was super funny to me. I was like, okay. It
Yeah.
was like, all right. Yeah.
Well, listen. Let's see. Duke says, "Oh crap, Hammer thing sounds awesome."
Yeah. It
And
was,
yeah,
interesting.
so that'll do it for us. That was our very long discussion, breakdown, Easter eggs, everything in between of the Superman teaser trailer. Remember, folks, it's just a teaser. Like people who say like, "Oh, it's not enough," they don't tell us. You're not supposed to. It's just a teaser. They will give us a full trailer on Super Bowl Sunday. I'm willing to bet a lot of
Yeah.
money on that. So expect
man.
a full trailer in February with Super Bowl Sunday. I also teased that we have another advanced screening giveaway coming up soon. And again, details are still being worked out, but I'm happy to announce that our next advanced screening is going to be Den of Thieves 2, Pantera. And there's actually like a good amount of folks who follow us that are like really big fans of the first one. So yeah, be on the lookout in the next couple of weeks for our giveaway, which features Den of Thieves 2, Pantera. I got to go watch the first one again. It's been such a long time since I've seen it.
Hey, and then also Ted mentioned too that we got that interview with Jimmy Palmiotti, who worked on Harley Quinn, and then he also talked about in the interview that we could have had a Kevin Smith and Robert Rodriguez Marvel movie team up back in the day that didn't come to fruition.
Oh, really? Wow. Yeah, so Ray did interview Jimmy. That interview is now on our Facebook page as well as our YouTube channel. I have an interview dropping tomorrow with a documentary filmmaker who was looking into the conspiracy theory that Jim Morrison of the Doors faked his death back in 1971. So, if you are
Wow.
a fan of Jim Morrison, like I am, or the Doors, like I am, that interview is dropping tomorrow morning. I highly recommend you check it out because the documentary itself is so eye opening. It reveals so much about Jim, his childhood, his adolescent years, and his final weeks or months in Paris before his alleged death. So, if you want to learn more about the man, the myth, the legend that was Jim Morrison, my interview drops tomorrow, and then that documentary drops in January next month. But I'm such
Nice.
a big fan of the Doors, so it was really fantastic, kind of talking about Jim. What else? We got more reviews dropping on countdowncitygeeks.com. So be sure to check those out. And I feel like I'm forgetting something else. We got a lot more interviews that we actually have in the works. I
Oh,
have
dude,
some
yeah.
kind of big surprises that I'm working on right now. Just working out some calendar details, but some one star in particular from a major Netflix series.
Okay.
So yeah, I will bring that up as soon as we get things finalized and all that good stuff. Duke says, "Do you know if there will be a Static movie?" I've not heard any rumblings of a Static movie yet.
There's a bunch of
They
legal stuff right now going on.
Yeah, yeah. That honestly would be really great. If you guys don't know who Static Shock is, he's this kid who like gets these powers, and then he has a lot of run-ins with like different characters from the Justice League and stuff. There was a TV show that was in the 90s and the early 2000s. It was great. I would definitely check it out. It was fantastic.
Absolutely. All
Yeah.
right, that'll do it for us. This has been a great stream. Thank you to Dave, Colin, and Ray for joining me on this one. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Duke, who was in here the entire time, you're awesome, sir. Shout out to Frank, Jen, who's been longtime friend of ours. Great to talk to you again, Jen.
Yeah,
We got to
Jen.
get you back on the show soon. Yeah, and, Jose, who was in the chat earlier. He's been doing streams all week about Skeleton Crew. Go check out his stuff. Dave, Colin, you guys want to talk about what we're doing over at Star Wars stuff this week?
Yeah, so we should actually probably talk about how we're doing the reviews and the breakdowns for the next two episodes of Skeleton Crew, just because
Ooh.
each episode falls on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So David, I think we talked about doing the pre-show on that Monday, right? And then we would do
Yeah, it's going to be
post-show.
sometime before. It's not going to be
Yeah.
exactly on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day because, of course, everyone has like family obligations and
Yep.
you want to spend time with your family, of course. And also the same thing with New Year's. It's probably not going to drop on that day. It might, but I wouldn't count on it. So just kind of if you're watching
Yep.
the channel for Star Wars Stuff Podcast, just
Yep.
be aware of that. So.
Yep, and I'm also doing a full gameplay of the new Indiana Jones game, and I'm also doing
that's awesome.
a review of it. So stay tuned for that, because
Wait a minute. I just saw Clark Kent, Indiana Jones, Superman, Colin Weaver.
What's up? What's going on? Yeah,
I think you're Metamorpho.
And I'm telling you guys right now, if you love Indiana Jones, you're gonna love this game because it takes place between the events of Raiders and Last Crusade, and it really fills in some of the gaps that have really never been explored. And honestly, it would be a great movie. Like, even Harrison Ford said that Troy Baker's performance in this is amazing, and the story so far is fantastic, and I can't wait to break it down for you. If you are an Indiana Jones fan, go and get this game. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Go check it out. It's a fantastic game.
Yeah, it's been rated high by like all the media, video game media groups out there. Fans have been loving it. So yeah, I need to go out and try and get it, or just watch Colin play it. I'll do that for sure. Awesome.
Yep.
Well, that'll do it for us. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. Not too sure yet if we will be doing any streams next week, but if we do not see you guys, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and we'll probably be back before New Year's Eve. So we'll be sure to wish you a Happy New Year before that happens. And go check out the Star Wars Stuff podcast. You can catch them on YouTube, on their social media pages, or you can also find a lot of their content on the Star Wars Stuff podcast page on our website at www.countdowncitygeeks.com. Retro Ray's been killing it with all the interviews that have been dropping the last couple of weeks. I think he's got another one dropping pretty soon. So be sure to check out
I'm
YouTube.
editing currently.
Boom! Look at that. Be sure to check out those interviews on our YouTube channel, or you can also check them out later on when they drop on our website at countdowncitygeeks.com. I will also tease, we're already working on more events for January. So like stay tuned. I'm excited. There's so many, like, even though the year's ending and all the big movies have sort of passed, there's a lot of like really cool stuff along the way. Nosferatu is also dropping next week. So I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do, but there's a chance we might do something for it. So without further ado, my name is Ted, aka Steady. With me has been Super Dave.
Look up and take me home.
Nice.
We also got Colin.
May the force be with you.
And last but never least, the one and only Retro
I don't know.
Ray.
We're trying to pull up David. I don't know.
And we also got Ray.
What's going on, guys? Like I
Well,
said,
have a
follow
great
us for
night.
some more great news.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time, guys. Peace.